People of Burkina Faso. Sons and daughters of Africa. Brothers and sisters watching across this great continent and beyond. Tonight, I stand before you not as a politician, not as a president, but as a son of this sacred soil, a warrior for our dignity, a voice for the voiceless who have been silenced for far too long. 10 days ago, a whisper reached our ears, a whisper that carried the arrogance of centuries. They say it came from Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel. A message, cold and calculated, warning African leaders to bend to his will or face consequences. Was it real? Was it a fabrication? I don't know, and I don't care. Because the very thought that anyone, could dare to threaten 54 nations, 1.4 billion souls, with a single breath, set my heart ablaze. It was an insult not just to Burkina Faso, but to every African who has ever dreamed of freedom, every elder who fought for independence, every child who deserves a future unshackled by foreign chains. Tonight, I speak to you from the heart of Ouagadougou, but my words are for every corner of this continent. From the markets of Accra to the villages of Kigali, from the deserts of Chad to the coasts of Cape Town, this is a message for every African who knows we are more than what the world has told us to be. This is a message for the world that thought it could keep us on our knees. And this, Mr. Netanyahu, is your final warning. Africa is awake, Africa is united, and Africa will never bow again. Let me take you back to the moment this fire was lit. When that so-called warning reached me, I didn't retreat to a quiet office to draft diplomatic notes. I didn't call secret meetings with men in suits who care more about power than people. I walked into our National Conference Center, where the air was thick with anticipation. Journalists from every continent packed the room, their cameras rolling, their pens ready to twist my words. Diplomats sat with folded arms, expecting another polite speech, another African leader begging for approval. They got something else entirely, an earthquake of truth that shook their world to its core. I stepped to the microphone, looked straight into those cameras, and let the truth pour out like a river breaking a dam. I said, Burkina Faso is not your puppet. Africa is not your playground. If you think you can scare us, bribe us, or bully us into submission, you are gravely mistaken. Then I spoke the words that stopped hearts and started a movement. Mr. Netanyahu, hear me clearly. This is your final warning. Threaten Africa again, and you will face the fury of a continent united, the strength of a people reborn, the will of a billion souls who will never again be chained. Within hours, those words became a spark that set Africa ablaze. In Senegal, students poured into the streets, chanting Africa stands tall. In Zimbabwe, farmers shared the video on cracked phone screens, their eyes shining with pride. In Nigeria, musicians turned my speech into songs of defiance, played in every market and club. In South Africa, artists painted murals of clenched fists and the words "No more chains." And then, the real miracle happened, our leaders joined the cry. My brother, General Ba in Mali, stood in Bamako and declared, Burkina Faso speaks for us all. The president of Niger, Ibrahim Traoré, posted online, Africa will not kneel. From Guinea to Eritrea, leaders sent messages of solidarity. Hashtags like No More Chains and Traorés trended not just in Africa, but in London, Paris, Sao Paulo, Beijing. This wasn't a speech, it was a call to arms, a battle cry for a continent ready to reclaim its destiny. Why did I speak so boldly? Why not play the game of quiet diplomacy, of carefully worded letters that get filed away and forgotten? Because that game has betrayed Africa for generations. Since our nations broke the chains of colonialism, we've tried their way. We signed their treaties, and our oil fueled their empires. We accepted their loans, and our children paid the price in hunger. We welcomed their military bases, only to find our sovereignty locked in their cages. We stayed silent while they carved up our wealth, our land, our future. No more. That whisper of a threat, real or imagined, was a mirror held up to centuries of disrespect. It was every time we were told our diamonds belonged to others. Every time we were called developing while our wealth built their cities. Every time we were patted on the head and told to wait our turn. That whisper was the last drop in a cup that's been overflowing for too long. And I refuse, to be the leader who smiles while his continent is humiliated. This is bigger than Burkina Faso. This is bigger than me. Across the Sahel, a revolution is rising. Mali sent foreign soldiers home, reclaiming their streets. Niger took back its mines, saying our uranium will light African homes first. Chad cancelled deals that bled its people dry. We've formed the Sahel Covenant, not just an alliance, but a vow: African problems will have African solutions. African wealth will build African futures. African unity will be our shield and our sword. To those who think they can stop us, I say this: you are too late. The Sahel Covenant is growing, more nations, more voices, more dreams joining hands. We're trading with each other, from millet to machinery, keeping our wealth where it belongs. We're training our youth to defend our borders, not begging for foreign troops. We're building schools, hospitals, roads, not for foreign applause, but for African pride. And to those who dare threaten us, from Tel Aviv or anywhere else, know this: Africa is not your prize to claim. Threaten one of us, and you face all of us. My words to Netanyahu were not just for him. They were for every nation that's grown fat treating Africa like a buffet. To America, we are not your pawns in global wars. To Europe, your colonial ghosts have no power here. To China, partnership means equality, not dependence. The silence from Israel since my speech? Telling. No statement, no denial, just a stunned hush. They didn't expect an African leader to stand tall and call their bluff before the world. The global media tried to bury this moment. Why? Because it doesn't fit their story of Africa as a broken continent, waiting for their salvation. But they can't silence a billion voices. Our youth are unstoppable. In Burkina Faso, they've turned my words into street art, into poems, into anthems. In Kenya, rappers spit bars about African pride. In Algeria, students translate my speech into Arabic, Tamazight, French. In Ethiopia, elders say this reminds them of the days when Haile Selassie dreamed of African unity. This is not my movement, it's our movement. I never sought to be a symbol. I'm just a soldier from Burkina Faso, raised in a village where we learned to fight for what's ours. But when I see messages from young girls in Uganda saying my words gave them courage, from fathers in Mali saying they feel hope again, from mothers in Ghana saying they're proud to raise African children, I know this is bigger than me. This is about remembering who we are. We are the heirs of Sundiata Keita, who built an empire of knowledge and strength. We are the descendants of Queen Amina, who rode into battle for her people. We are the children of Patrice Lumumba, who died rather than betray his continent. For too long, We were told to forget our greatness, to be grateful for their crumbs. Tonight, we say, we are the banquet, and the world will sit at our table. The Sahel Covenant is just the beginning. More nations are joining, Senegal, Guinea, Somalia, and counting. We're building an Africa where our cobalt powers our industries, where our children learn in schools that teach our history, where our security comes from our unity, not foreign bases. We're proving that Africa doesn't need saviors, we are our own salvation. To those who still dream of controlling us, your time is up. Your threats are empty. Your sanctions won't bend us. Your armies can't break us. To my African family, from the Sahara to the Cape, from the Atlantic to the Indian Ocean, this is our moment. Demand leaders who fight for Africa, not foreign approval. Build businesses that keep our wealth here. Teach your children their heritage, their power, their worth. Share this message, in your markets, your mosques, your churches, your schools. Let the world know that Africa is writing its own story. Mr. Netanyahu, you thought you could scare us. You thought a whisper would make us tremble. Instead, you woke a giant. This is your final warning, Africa is not yours to threaten. Africa is not yours to control. Africa is rising, united, and unstoppable. To the world, watch us. To Africa, rise with us. This is our time. This is our continent. And this is just the beginning of a future that will shake the earth.